I've been telling people to own gold for the last 40 years, and I have been buying gold for the 40 years, but it's not 100% safe. If the government idiots, the people like Trudeau, the US president, then the Germans, if that kind of government continues to be in power, they can tell one day, take all the gold away from the citizens. They can also say one day we're not going to pay our debts. That's why I'm saying nothing is safe.
Marc Faber, the renowned Swiss investor and economist known for his contrarian views on global financial markets, has raised thought-provoking points about the role of gold in today's economic landscape. His insights, particularly regarding government actions and global skepticism towards the US dollar, paint a complex picture of gold's enduring appeal. Faber's warning about potential government confiscation of gold or debt repudiation is not without historical precedent. Events like the Great Depression in the United States, when President Franklin D. Roosevelt issued Executive Order 6102 in 1933. This order required U.S. citizens to surrender most of their gold holdings to the government at a fixed rate of $20.67 per ounce, effectively criminalizing the hoarding of gold. The move was designed to give the government more control over the money supply during an economic crisis. Drawing parallels to the present day, Faber suggests that while nothing in life is completely safe, it's prudent to diversify domestic and international gold holdings as a precautionary measure. This advice comes against the backdrop of increasing global economic uncertainties and shifting power dynamics. Faber points out that countries like China, India, and Russia are increasingly skeptical of the American government and the dominance of the US dollar. These nations fear that their US dollar-denominated assets could be frozen or devalued due to actions by the US government, which they perceive as potentially detrimental to their interests. This skepticism is not unfounded. Recent events have demonstrated the power of financial sanctions, as evidenced by the freezing of approximately $300 billion in Russian foreign holdings by the US and its allies following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. While most of these frozen assets are held in European Union nations, about $5 billion is located in the United States, highlighting the potential vulnerabilities of dollar-denominated assets in geopolitical conflicts. Please tune in for our exploration of Marc Faber's expert analysis. Don't miss out on future content. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay in the loop. We appreciate your support.
The global economy is this, and the financial market is this. And the global economy depends on this financial market. And the gold price has gone up, but they think if we keep our money in dollars, the American government can screw us one day or another day by freezing our assets. And the recent presidents of the US and the Treasury and the Federal Reserve are all completely incompetent characters, incompetent. And so the world increasingly relies on other instruments to maintain their reserves in other words, more and more precious metals. They also have cryptocurrencies, and they also have alternative to the US dollars.
Yeah, that's amazing explanation.
But I want to stress one point.
Go ahead.
I've been telling people to own gold for the last 40 years, and I have been buying gold for the 40 years, but it's not 100% safe. If the government idiots, the people like Trudeau, the US president, then the Germans, and Macron, and so forth, all these government class, if they could tell the people, you have to stay home, you have to get an injection against the vaccine, nobody had a clue what it was about and what the consequences would be. And you have to stay in your apartment, and unless you take the vaccine, you will be fired from employment. If that kind of government continues to be in power, they can tell one day, take all the gold away from the citizens. They can also say one day, we're not going to pay our debts. That's why I'm saying nothing is safe. But there's nothing new in life. Nothing is safe. You can have an accident. I can have an accident. But it's better to take precautions and to have some gold where you live and some gold outside the US or outside the country of residence and so forth. So you can take precautions.
Marc Faber offers an intriguing perspective on the relationship between public trust in government institutions and the appeal of precious metals as a store of value. Some people choose not to invest in gold or other precious metals due to their trust in government institutions, particularly the Federal Reserve, which has the power to print money and shape monetary policy. This trust, however, exists against a backdrop of mounting national debt. As of the end of 2023, the United States' gross debt had reached a staggering $34 trillion. Of this sum, approximately $27 trillion, or 79%, represents debt held by the public, money borrowed from domestic and foreign investors. The remaining $7 trillion, or 21%, is intra-governmental debt, essentially accounting for transactions between different parts of the federal government. The scale of this debt underscores the significant role that the Federal Reserve plays in managing the nation's economy. The Fed's decisions on interest rates have far-reaching consequences, influencing everything from consumer and business borrowing costs to the job market, stock market performance, and inflation rates. Let's get back to the interview.
As I said, people have choices, there are people who don't own any gold at all and don't own any precious metals. And they were presented with the opportunity to own some, but they rejected it because they trusted the government. And who is the government agency? Is the Federal Reserve that prints the money. So if you decide in life to trust the Federal Reserve and to trust people like Trump and even worse, Biden, and then recently some people wrote they didn't think the government could get worse than with Biden, and now we have a communist that will run America, potentially. I don't think she has a chance to get elected, but you have to see a lot of people, they want to have the government taking care of them and the government having more and more influence on their lives because they are scared to take personal responsibility, and they don't want to work and they don't want to be independent, but they want to essentially receive from the government. They're then surprised if the government tells them what to do. You understand? You have to be very clear in economics. What do you want? Security and safety? Or do you want an entrepreneurial, free market, capitalistic society? That is the question that people have to answer. And I can give them a book or recommend a book. I can't give them all a book that I can recommend. This is a book that is worthwhile reading, Capitalism, Socialism, and Democracy by Schumpeter. It's a very, very important book, and you don't need to read everything because it's heavy reading. It's understandable, but heavy reading. But an easier read is, say, Milton Friedman's, let's see, here, Capitalism and Freedom. That's the one that people need to read. Capitalism is a system where people are free to choose. They can choose whether they want to have a business or be an employee and so forth, and where they want to live and what kind of occupation they want to have. The opposite of the spectrum is essentially a government that tells you everything, but also takes care of you. They send you a check every month, but they tell you you have to be at 8 o'clock in the morning there, and you have to close the window then. And in the extreme case of the extreme communism China had, you could wear a blue dress or a brown dress, and that's it. Nothing else was available. So this is something people have to decide upon. For me, the decision was very clear. I want to be free in life. Doesn't matter whether you're very rich or not so rich, but you can be free and independent. But you have to look after yourself. You understand? When my motorcycle breaks down, then I have to fix it or get someone to fix it.
As the global economic landscape continues to evolve, with shifting power dynamics and increasing uncertainties, gold's role as a hedge against political and economic instability may become increasingly prominent. However, as history has shown, even gold is not immune to government intervention, making diversification and careful consideration of storage locations crucial for investors and nations alike. Share your perspective in the comment section. If the video resonates with you, Join our community by subscribing to our channel and enabling notifications with the bell icon. Thank you for being a part of our community.